Dota2 Splash, and on today's episode we have a guide for Meepo, the Melee Carry Disabler Initiator, and of course with your host, me, Stefan of Orange. At least that's my Steam name. Now, Meepo is a really fun character. I spent most of the day playing him just to get a good feel on how to build him and how to use his skills, so it's still fresh in my mind. Meepo is a really fun character. His main skill that you would want to focus on is going to be his ult. Well, of course, you don't get that till level 6, but this basically makes duplicates of Meepo, and of course, the more levels you put into it, the more Meepos you get. So he's a character that demands micromanagement, which there's really no other character that's going to demand this kind of attention. So let's just go over his abilities real quick. His first one's gonna be Earthbind, and this one is fun, but it's also one of those skills, kind of like Pudge's Hook, where if you miss it, you're an asshole, and people will give you a hard time about it. So it's really important to not only max out this ability any chance that you get, but it's also good to really get it down and where to use it, how to use it, casting it in front of your enemy. And this attack is, well, not attack, but this disable is an AoE, and it casts out a net, capturing the enemy and keeping it in place. And of course, if there are more enemies in that AoE, they all get their movement stopped. And the more points you put in it, the more range it has, all the way up to 1250. And now his next ability, which is, especially once you have your ult, is going to be really important, and it's called Poof. And I found this to be the hardest skill to get down correctly, just because it can be used in so many ways. It does damage, which if you have one Meepo in one area, you can poof to him, and if he's engaged in a battle, this will actually do damage to your enemy. I found that I would rarely or never actually use this ability correctly, except when trying to get a Meepo healed. A lot of people will say level this ability up first. I can see where they're coming from. I personally don't. It's usually one of the last abilities I fully level up. But that's just me. Now his next one is Geostrike, and this is an ability that adds damage to it. It's a passive ability. It'll add damage to his attack, and it will slow your enemy, and it stacks, which is really great, meaning that if you have multiple Meepos on somebody, that extra bonus damage is going to stack from all your Meepos. And this is really great to level up, because not only is it a good tool to farm for money, but it's also great whenever you've surrounded an enemy with all your Meepos, and you can pretty much just melt them away really fast. And of course the slow is going to keep them from moving away from you. And of course his last one, which is called Divided We Stand, and that's going to allow you to have an extra 1 to 3 Meepos. Now that's really the fun part about playing Meepo, is that you get a whole, instead of just one guy, you have 4 guys, and this is upgradable by a scepter, so you can have up to a total of 5 Meepos. Now the other Meepos that you will get will not be able to have any items like your main one, but they will share the same boots, which is helpful. And they get to share 30% of the stat bonuses that your main Meepo has. So I would always say go with items that increase your stats per se over ones that will just increase kind of damage or things like that, because that's only going to affect your main Meepo. And so yeah, let's just go over the items real quick. For his build, his main items that you're going to want to build are Power Treads, a Vlad's, and a Scepter. And of course the Vlad's is so that you can regain your health, because when one Meepo dies, they all die, so it's really important that you maintain health for all your Meepos. So Vlad's is really great. The Power Treads is going to give you, of course, in all your Meepos, it's going to give them the attack bonus and the stat bonuses and the movement bonuses, which is really the main important thing to get for Meepo. And of course your scepter, so that you get that extra Meepo per level of your ult. So instead of just getting 1 the first level, you can get 2. Instead of 2 the third level or second level, you'll get 3, and then of course at the last level you get 4, so you'll have 5 Meepos to use at the end. So now that we kind of went over his basic items, other items you can get that are situational. You can get a heart, which will make them, you know, harder to kill, and give all your other Meepos the stat bonuses for strength, giving them more hit points. You can get a manta, which is just kind of fun. I did that earlier today. I built a manta for Meepo, and of course it just increases the amount of Meepos that you have, and you can just melt through things real easily. Kind of fun. Another one that I enjoyed getting was Sanj and Yasha. And of course that once again is just for the extra, because it does stack with his slow that he has for his Geo Strike. And so, you know, you can go up to a character and basically stop them in their tracks and they can't get away from you, and you can just sit there and melt them. And of course it gives you all the stat bonuses too, which is nice. So, I mean, that's just the basics of Meepo. He's a really fun character. Like I said, it really comes down to his ult and his poof and his earthbind. Always keep a Meepo, like if a Meepo has low health, send him back, because he will die. You have so many of them, so let's say, you know, he's down to little health, send him back to the base and then have him poof back into battle. There's no reason to draw all your Meepos back just because one of them has low health. And I found that was my major error when playing him today was, you know, I would find that one of them's getting hurt, so I send them all back. Just get the one with the low hit points and send him back. Because you're gonna still be able to stay in the game and get kills that way and get farmed. And of course his Earthbind can be a pain to use. I would say cast it in front of people, that way when they run into it, or use it whenever you're about to get a kill, like he just did there. It was pretty pro, and of course it captures all of them. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope that this short guide, this beginner's guide to Meepo, will help you out in honing some asses. Until next time, I guess I'll see you. Oh yeah, make sure to subscribe and like this shit, and I'll see you next time, Dota 2 players.